As we all know, the ICJ said that this illegal occupation has to be terminated as quickly as possible. The General Assembly said that means in 12 months. So if we want to end this occupation, then therefore countries should not be giving the tools to extend the life of this illegal occupation.
This letter is less about pressuring Israel and more about pressuring the countries that still send weapons to Israel to stop.
But these are decisions for now is the moment for Israel to return to its founding premise. The Jewish state has an absolute right to exist. A divine gift, gifted to a divine nation, charged with a divine purpose. Israel has an absolute and unequivocal right and responsibility to defend itself to the fullest, applying the only language that its adversaries understand, the language of force. So what would David Ben-Gurion say today? He would say, don't depend on anybody else's fleeting sympathies or permission to do it. If Israel and Mossad want to pull off Munich 2.0 and take out every last leader of Hamas, wherever they may be hiding from Doha to Dresden, host a red wedding at the Four Seasons in Qatar, the next time Haniyeh and Mashal show up, they should go ahead and do it. If Israel wants to at long last abandon the myth of a two-state solution, Israel should go ahead and abandon a two-state solution. The rest of the Arab world can absorb Palestinians just as the Jews absorbed their people out of 22 countries they were kicked out of since 1948. The Islamic world cannot continue to condone the slaughtering of Jews while continuing to disown the Palestinians. That is the hard truth that neither member of either political party is willing to speak out loud to the Arab world. I will.
Turkey severs all ties with Israel. President Erdogan says this will not change the future. Turkey and Israel have had years of fraught relations. The ties improved in recent years, but the Gaza war pushed the relationship into a breaking point.
While a handful of Western countries provide Israel with all kinds of military, political, economic and moral support, the insufficiency of Muslim countries to react has unfortunately led us to this situation. Based on international law and the UN Charter, it is of utmost importance that we continue our coordinated efforts to take coercive measures against those who commit genocide in Palestine. We cannot allow our differences of opinion and attitude to become a barrier. We sincerely wish that our Palestinian brothers and sisters can achieve national unity. Dear brothers and sisters, as Islamic countries, we must lead the steps to take against Israel. First of all, as long as its aggression continues, it is of utmost importance to impose an arms embargo on Israel, to terminate trade, and to isolate Israel in the international arena.
Staying on with West Asia, Palestinian militant group Hamas called on Arab and Muslim countries to translate their pledges of support into actual action. In a statement, the Iran-backed group said that the establishment of an independent Palestinian state with Jerusalem as its capital would require more efforts and practical solutions to force Israel to stop its aggression and genocide. This is after the Arab and Muslim leaders gathered in Saudi capital Riyadh more than a year into the Israel-Hamas war. And this gathering, this summit, is largely being seen as a chance to send a message to US President-elect Donald Trump. The summit's closing statement said that a just and comprehensive peace in the region cannot be achieved without ending the Israeli occupation of all occupied Arab territories to the line of June 4th, 1967. And that refers to the occupied West Bank, the East Jerusalem region, as well as Gaza and the Golan Heights. The leaders mentioned UN resolutions which have called on Israel to withdraw from these areas, and the 2002 Arab Peace Initiative, in which Arab nations offered Israel normalized ties in return for a two-state agreement with the Palestinians along the 1967 lines.
More than 50 nations have signed a letter calling for a halt to arms sales to Israel. They say that Israel is not doing enough to protect the lives of civilians in Gaza.
The letter collectively calls for immediate steps to be taken to halt the arms and munitions transfers to Israel, wherever there are reasonable grounds that those weapons are being used in the occupied Palestinian territories. Now, the letter was signed by a broad cross-section of countries. To give you an example, Norway, South Africa, Qatar, Russia, Vietnam, just to name a few. But it is Turkey who is leading the effort.
We cannot stress enough that the staggering civilian toll, predominantly affecting women and children, resulting from ongoing breaches of international humanitarian and human rights law, is both unacceptable and intolerable.
Now, after the summit, Arab League Secretary General Ahmed Aboul-Gheit announced at a press conference that the freezing of Israel's UN membership might be on the cards.
Because we know that Donald Trump's going to try and bring some kind of peace to these conflicts.
It's not rhetoric at all. It's a preparation for Trump's coming as president of the United States, since Trump has supported before the annexation of the Israeli illegal settlements. And he just commented by saying during the campaign, he said that Israel is too small and it needs to expand. So the Israelis take that literally. I mean, they want to annex the Palestinian territories because Israel's goal is to kill any possibility or potential for a Palestinian state. That is not just rhetoric. It's a law that was passed in the Israeli Knesset. And what we see here is not just talk, we see actions. We see Israel practical annexation of more than 50% of the West Bank through the settlement building, through the building of the illegal apartheid wall, which isolated at least 18% of the West Bank. And now they are building highways that are exclusive for Jewish people and declaring in another law that the right of self-determination in the land of historic Palestine is exclusive for Jewish people. What do you need more than that? They're not just talking about annexation, they are practicing it. And the only way to stop them is to make them pay a very high price. Palestinian resistance is continuing. It is continuing in Gaza. It is continuing in West Bank, in Lebanon. And that's why they cannot fulfill the occupation of the amount of land they are aiming at. But on the other hand, they have to pay a price with sanctions and boycott and divestment. And also, much more actions has to be taken to send a message to the United States of America, to Mr. Trump, who is a very practical man, as it seems, that the interest of his country will be directly related to his policy regarding Palestine. If that message doesn't get to him, he will be absolutely and completely supportive of what Israel is doing.
Okay, how do you do what you've just said? Let's just say that in an ideal world, the Organisation of Islamic Cooperation and the Arab League, they unite, they find one voice, they know that they need to somehow influence the United States in order to stop Israel.
And they should also tell the United States of America that all the Abraham Accords are cancelled by those countries who went into normalization agreements with Israel. And they should ban any relations with Israel. Ban any trip, any travel to Israel, ban any commercial deals with Israel, like Turkey did. This is something that all Arab and Muslim countries must do immediately.
There is one force putting your family in grave danger: the tyrants of Tehran. That's it. But there's also good news. Every day, that regime gets weaker. Every day, Israel gets stronger. The world has seen but a fraction of our power. Yet there's one thing Khamenei's regime fears more than Israel. You know what it is? It's you, the people of Iran. That's why they spend so much time and money trying to crush your hopes and curb your dreams. Well, I say to you this: don't let your dreams die. I hear your whispers: women, life, freedom, zan, zandagi, azadi. Don't lose hope, and know that Israel and others in the free world stand with you. The regime wants to destroy your future as they seek to destroy our state. Well, we won't let that happen. I have no doubt that one day in a free Iran, Israelis and Iranians will build together a future of prosperity and peace. That is the future Israel deserves. That is the future Iran deserves. Together, let us turn this beautiful dream into a reality.